Yesterday, I watched Usher's halftime show 2024 and relived my teenage dream of seeing Usher in concert. Well, kind of, I was still at home, but I was super excited. And then I watched it again with my marketing hat on and found 5 key marketing lessons that brands can take away from the show. In the halftime show, Usher and his team absolutely nailed the marketing. And in today's video, I want to share 5 key marketing lessons that brands can use. And you can use this too, no matter what size your business is. Make sure you stay until the end because that fifth tip is one that even had me hooked and wanting to make a purchase. So make sure that you are implementing this one in your business. Hey there, I'm Vicky, aka the Fashion Business Coach, and I love helping brands to scale strategically and increase their profits. If you're one of those people watching this who have ever felt unsure of your next move, you feel like there's a million different opportunities to grow your marketing and get more visibility for your brand, but you're not sure which is the right next step for you. If that is you, I have a free quiz for you. It takes only 2 minutes to fill in, and you'll end up with customized tips for your stage of business. So if you want to grab that and get a bit of clarity on your next steps, head to the link below to take the quiz and get your customized results. The first thing that caught my marketing eye in the Usher Super Bowl halftime show was what happened before the show. So, actually, what I was really impressed by was the amount of hype around the event. Yes, that kind of comes with the territory, with the Super Bowl being a big thing, certainly stateside, and the halftime show being popular globally. But I really felt that Usher, his team, his partners really went the extra step into creating a lot of hype around the event, which really got people talking ahead of time and excited to be listening to Usher again. I know for myself, I was listening to old school Usher for weeks prior to the event, and I was really excited to watch the show yesterday. There was definitely an omni-channel presence happening here, which is really key if you are a bigger brand with a bigger budget, and it's important to start hitting at different points because we saw in this case, Usher on his own social media channels was, of course, talking about it. There was a lot of collaborations with press and various different media outlets, and of course, sponsors like Apple as well, all were taking part in this. So it felt like wherever you looked, you were hearing about this halftime show and the hype around it. I absolutely loved the teaser trailer. When I went into my Apple Music, it was one of the first things that was presented to me in the run up to the event. And I really love the mix of nostalgia, but having this fresh take on it. So it would appeal to people like myself who was around for Usher's early days and really love his older music. But then it also, weaved in this new narrative that was going to appeal to people who maybe never heard of Usher before or people who weren't around during his golden time. I think the nostalgia piece can be really, really helpful because it creates these positive memories for people. And then it causes them to have these positive memories of you and your brand, or in this case, me and Usher, and thinking of the positive memories of when I used to go out with my friends and we'd be listening to Usher tunes all night long. It just has that positive impact when you bring in the nostalgia because people start to associate it with your brand. And as we know, brand is a lot about perception and how people feel. So this is a really key thing to bring in if you can. I also absolutely love the inclusivity aspect of this, both in this particular hype piece, this video, but also throughout his performances. That would really resonated with me. It was really important to me. So I was really happy to see that throughout. And also nice to see all different kinds of age groups and people sort of in different situations in that teaser trailer, catching up with people at high school in their jobs and things like that. It was a really nice piece and really well done. The hype pieces kept coming throughout the weeks up until the show. It kept giving people new teasers, new things to be excited about, and kept people talking. It didn't just have this one announcement, this one launch, and then things kind of tailed off until the actual event. Things kept happening throughout the months leading up until the show. So the key takeaway for this for you as a brand is make sure you always have this pre-launch hype. Don't ever launch a new product and certainly don't ever launch a new business without having done a significant amount of pre-launch work up front. If you're launching a new product, I'd expect this to happen a few weeks before. If you are launching a completely new brand or maybe a new category for your brand, and moving into sort of a different market, I'd expect this to be happening months in advance. We really want to take some time to build up that hype, build up that audience, and get people excited for best results for your launch. Another key marketing takeaway for brands from Usher's halftime show is collaboration. We saw this in many different forms. We saw collaboration with other artists during the show itself. We saw the collaboration with Apple Music and the actual event, of course, the sporting event. We saw Dolce & Gabbana and a team of designers and also media outlets. Things like Vogue were doing pieces on the fashion beforehand and other media outlets reporting from other angles. So there was a lot of collaboration happening, and that in itself massively increases the reach that this event gets. And it also increases the amount of touch points, in this case, Usher, but in your case, a brand would have And it always helps to have someone else raving about us, right? It's one thing for us to tell people what is great about us or our product, but when someone else is doing it, it just has so much more power. Using this collaboration method is powerful for anyone, but it's a really good one if you are a small business because it means that you can get reach, you can get visibility and views by leveraging other people's accounts so that you can start to make sales and start to get more traction and more followers, more interactions, etc., all that good stuff without having to have a huge audience yourself. So this is a really key one for new businesses as well as established brands being able to use it too. Different experts are going to give you different numbers, but people say that you need a minimum of 7 touch points, i.e. a customer needs to interact with you a minimum of 7 times in some capacity. That could be maybe with your social media content. It might be sending you a message, talking to customer services, going to your website. A minimum of 7. A lot of experts will tell you it's a lot more before they are ready to make a sale. So the more touch points that you can create, in this case by using collaboration, so your brand is kind of seen everywhere, that's going to really help with getting to a sale faster. Collaboration can create this user-generated content as well. People can see someone else who is not you, who is not the brand, talking about the products, giving opinions on it, sharing insights, getting people excited about it, and this is all marketing gold. And then the other aspect to this is really thinking about the people who we are working with. No person, no business is an island. We can't all be great at everything. So it's important to bring in the right people to get help and support. Usher himself said in the video that Vogue produced about the fashion and the halftime show, he said, "It's great to have a collaborating partner who understands how to create something that actually literally works on the stage because you have to do quick changes as well." So he was speaking to the fact that not all designers would be best placed to do this because they don't understand the fact of quick changes and how things move and how he can do his dance routines and be on rollerblades and all these things. They need to understand how a garment works in the capacity of being in a performance and being on a stage. So it's really important to partner with the right people, both in terms of marketing reach, but also when working on your products as well. I'd love to know, who would you like to collaborate with? Let me know in the comments. I'm always curious to hear your thoughts on things like this. The third marketing tip that I'm taking away from Usher's halftime show is a reminder to bring back the best sellers. Think about it. If Usher had come to this performance with all new songs, it would be a big risk. He had no idea how people were going to react to these new songs, and chances are the performance wouldn't have been as successful. So it's really important to remember, what are people most excited about and how can we bring that and kind of reinvent it into a new situation. People have come to know and love Usher for a lot of his greatest hits, and they want to hear them. They want to relive them again and again and again. That's why people used to buy records and CDs and why we have our streaming services now, because people want to hear the same thing over and over if they love it. They don't want to just hear it one time and then never hear it again. The same goes with our products. Take this as your reminder that you do not need to reinvent the wheel every single time that you bring out a new product or a new collection. We need to lean into our greatest hits, the things that people love and expect from us as customers. We can give them updated versions, sure. We saw Usher do this in the halftime show. He was doing new performances. I'd not seen him on roller skates before. I'd not seen contortionists in his show before. And I'd not seen these particular exact musical arrangements before either. There were things that were a little bit different, things that had evolved and moved on, but the core basics of his songs and his performance, his theatrics were there because that's what people love and that is what people expect from him. And as business owners, we want to make sure that we're taking the best of our previous collections and reinventing them for the new season. Reviewing your past bestsellers and the worst sellers too is really, really key for having a successful business. Taking those bestsellers, reinventing them for your audience is not only great for making more sales as a business, but also it drastically reduces the amount of time that it takes in sample development, meaning you can bring new ideas to market sooner if you would like. And alongside that, it massively reduces our costs for that sample development process as well. So there are a ton of different benefits for doing this. I love helping brands to do those kinds of reviews and then do the reinvention of those bestsellers. So if that is something that you would like help with, I'll put my details below this video. Another key marketing lesson from the Super Bowl halftime show is authenticity. In the Vogue halftime show, one of the designers was speaking about Usher and the ideas for the collection, and I felt this was really, really powerful. Here's the quote. "I think this, as in the clothing, speaks to who he already is. So it's never about covering up or creating a new entity for him, but more like how do we further develop or go into the next chapter of who he's been, who he is now, and who he's about to be." That is really, really powerful for brands as well, because we don't want to be completely reinventing ourselves every single season because we risk alienating the people who already know, like, and love us and going into the unknown. Yes, we want to push boundaries, we want to try some new things, but we don't need to reinvent who we are at the core. We also see this authenticity in a lot of Usher's songs. We've seen him share the ups and downs of his relationships over the years, his feelings, his heartbreak. And that's really made his music relatable to people. And I think that's a big part of why he developed such a big and loyal fan base as well. The key takeaway for brands here is that personal connection is so, so important, especially for selling in 2024. And being honest, authentic, relatable as a brand, and also being visible as a brand owner is really, really important to creating that audience who love you and trust you enough to buy from you. There's a lot I could talk about in this, and I've made a video on this topic. So if you want to dive deeper into that, make sure you look at the link for the best fashion marketing strategy in 2024, which is all about this authenticity, building relationships, and all that good stuff. And my final marketing lesson from Usher's halftime show is to end on a high. We need to keep this in mind for every piece of content that we are creating. We want to leave our audience wanting more, not in an annoyed way because they felt like our content was clickbaity, but more because we are so excited about this that we just don't want it to end. Usher did a fantastic job of this during the show, ending on a high with one of his most loved songs that everyone was singing along to, and really ended the show on a high and wanting us to never have this end. And of course, he was there to be able to provide us with more. When the replay was listed by Apple Music in the official video, they invite you to stream his album so you can relive it straight after the show. On his social channels, he was talking about the new album as well and new dates for the tour, giving people ways to continue this experience, having left them on a high, left them wanting more, and providing them with the ways to get it. And honestly, I was absolutely sucked into this because I love the show. I called my sister, I'm like, Usher's on tour, we have to go. I saw a ton of comments on his Instagram saying, when are you coming to the UK? And that was exactly how my sister and I were feeling, and we're hoping he's coming to the UK. So Usher, if you're listening, come to the UK, please. The takeaway for this as a brand is that in all of our content, we need to be asking for that CTA, that call to action. So whether that is inviting people to shop, leave a comment, chat with us, follow a link, DM us, whatever it might be, we want to give them a way to continue because essentially we don't want to have captured someone's attention. We've stopped them scrolling. We've got their attention. We've delivered something amazing that they're excited about, but then they're just going to go to somebody else's account or somebody else's website. We want to keep them in our world. So that CTA is really, really important to make sure that we tell them the next step and how they can get more from us and our brand. And we can do the same thing too with collections when we release them. For instance, usually when we're doing a fashion show or a lookbook or something like that, we start with the strongest styles. People have incredibly short attention spans, so we want to have something really attention grabbing at the start. And then at the end, we also end on a high, end with the strongest piece that's going to get people excited, getting them talking and wanting more. So in the spirit of all of that, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you subscribe so that you can get more marketing tips in the future videos released every single Tuesday. And in the meantime, why not try out one of these videos to get some more help right now? And don't forget, if you want a customized next step for your fashion business, take the 2-minute quiz to get your results and customize next steps just for you. See you next week. Bye.